Defense Updates has reached more than 150,000 subscribers. We're genuinely thankful to our viewers. You keep us going. We don't dilute your video watching experience in this channel with sponsored products. If you like what we're doing, kindly support us at Patreon. www.patreon.com/defenseupdates. The Russian Kilo-class submarine is nothing new. It's been around in some form or another since the 1980s. But Krasnodar represents a significant evolution. Moscow's keen to export them for desperately needed hard currency given the swath of sanctions that have been applied against the country since it invaded Crimea in 2014. As such, it's marketing Krasnodar and the submarines of its class as the quietest in the world. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why Krasnodar is rightly dubbed as Black Hole by the US and NATO.
Number 5.
Putin had warned NATO that the submarine would be passing through friendly waters. NATO knew the submarine was passing by, and new submarines are items of keen interest. How noisy is it? What are its unique sound signatures? How long can its batteries last? Does it carry any new equipment? Any info could be useful in any future conflict.
Number 4.
Several specialist NATO anti-submarine frigates were following, determined to find out. The nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush put its sea-scanning Seahawk helicopters to the task, as was a flight of new P-8 Poseidon sub-hunting aircraft based in Italy. But the Russians weren't going to play. The submarine had traveled on the surface, in plain sight, through the North Sea from Russia's northern naval bases. NATO warships, like Britain's HMS Somerset, kept a watchful eye on it, waiting for it to submerge. But it didn't, at least not until it reached Libya, where Russia's defense ministry abruptly warned international airlines that it would be taking part in military exercise off the coast. It was part of a sales pitch to Egypt and others who were in the market for modern, quiet, conventionally powered submarines. NATO lost Krasnodar in the middle of the exercise and, out of the blue, on May 29th, a series of cruise missiles tore through the air towards targets around Syria's besieged city of Palmyra. They were Russian missiles and they came from Krasnodar. This changed everything. The sub was able to move from Libya to Syria, a distance of more than 2,000 kilometers, undetected even with significant number of NATO assets trying to track it. It also posed a troubling question: who was hunting whom?
Number 3.
The submarine has a max range of 6,000 to 7,500 nautical miles and a max speed of 20 knots. It has an endurance of 45 days. The submarine possesses an excellent armament, which includes 6 533mm torpedo tubes for a total of 18 torpedoes, 4 caliber or club missile for land attack, anti-ship missile, and anti-submarine role, 24 mines, 8 Strela 3 or 8 Igla 1 surface-to-air missiles.
Number 2.
They were flexing their muscles, Rear Admiral Kenneth Weitzel, commander of the USS Bush Strike Group, told the Wall Street Journal. One small submarine has the ability to threaten a large capital asset like an aircraft carrier, said U.S. Navy Captain Bill Ellis, commander of U.S. anti-subplanes in Europe. Naval analyst and historian Dr. Alexander Clark said the design of Krasnodar is interesting and appears to be very successful. It's probably the quietest kilo and all powered down running just on batteries in the noisy Mediterranean that could start to cause worry, even for NATO. And the Russians will not only build more for themselves, they'll probably be building similar vessels for others. Vietnam, Algeria, India, and Iran will all be interested in that capability, and you can be sure China wants to match it. With the likes of Krasnodar now having cruise missile capability, they're pretty much the kingpin of Russia's sea denial anti-access forces, a mobile minefield which is also capable of precision strike. It's what Australia wanted from the Collins class, Japan from the Soyuz, and Israel from the Dolphins. The difference is Russia seems to have got it, and are confident enough to flaunt it.
Number 1.
The new phase of a deadly old Cold War game appears to be panning out after a Syrian jet fighter was shot down by the USS George H.W. Bush's FA-18 aircraft on June 18th. Moscow threatened to shoot down U.S. fighter aircraft in retaliation. Russia has worked to enhance its naval capabilities since 2000. The Russians are also building 2 other new designs. Both are nuclear-powered. The Bore class are Russia's new generation of ballistic missile submarines, the cornerstone and most survivable part of its nuclear arsenal. The Hunter class, called Yasen, is intended to destroy U.S. aircraft carriers like USS George H.W. Bush. And the Wall Street Journal speculates one of these, the Kazan, may have secretly shadowed the USS George H.W. Bush and Britain's newest aircraft carrier, HMS Queen Elizabeth, during August exercises in the North Atlantic. This all adds up to present a major step back towards the level of submarine activity that was a feature of the Cold War.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.